Hey everyone, this is Tim. Hope you're doing well this week, and I want to talk to you about a schedule change that we're going through as a church. So as you may know, we've been on a modified summer schedule from July through August and through Labor Day, and now, as planned, moving away from Labor Day, we're going to resume our normal schedule, which means we're starting equipping hour again at 9 a.m., and then we have corporate worship at 10:30, and our Sunday evening gatherings are continuing with their regular rhythm that was largely unchanged. So second Sunday of the month coming up means we have community groups in the evenings. I want to talk to you about equipping hour. Like I said, we're starting that up again for a new school year. The series coming up here we're starting with is going to be called The Church Militant, and it has to do with the church in its warfare that Christ has called us to on earth. That has to do kind of on the offensive side with missions, going into the nations and proclaiming the gospel and seeing the Lord save and build his church. And then on the defensive side, that's persecution, the church being persecuted and mistreated for the faith. We're going to look at both of these things from a historical and practical perspective with engagement with Scripture kind of laced throughout. But we're going to look at what has happened in church history with missions and persecution. What does the landscape look like today? And what might our participation, our faithful involvement in the church's mission look like today in view of these things? So I want to commend that to you and make kind of a larger case, a larger exhortation to be a part of equipping hour as we start it again this coming school year. This is not law. This is not something that if you don't come, you're sinning. I want to be very clear on that. We're not binding consciences on this, the other pastor elders and I. But I do want to encourage and exhort you to be a part of this for a few reasons. One of them is just for your edification, for your instruction. We've been called as a church to equip the saints for the work of service. We've been called to instruct in sound doctrine and to refute those who contradict. And we could say to refute contradictory ideas that are out there. And this kind of instruction, we don't have a ton of opportunity to do that just with our weekly sermon and the things we do in our corporate worship gathering. There's more instruction we need. We have all week that we're kind of learning from the world and in a sense being discipled by the world. We need time as a church to work through issues in a different mode, a different way than we can do from the pulpit. We can get into the weeds more with practical issues. We can deal more with things like history as we deal, with what Scripture teaches, the theology, the doctrine that derives from Scripture, and then the practical outworking and the history and those kinds of things as it looks in our lives. So Equipping Hour is a unique venue for dealing with those things in a much deeper way. So for your edifying instruction first. Second is to hear what's going on in your church. If you're a member, you have a firm membership here, to help take ownership of what's happening in the life of your church. This may be an angle that you haven't really thought of. But if you're a member of the body here, you should care what your church is teaching. You should care what's being taught when we have these corporate all-together gatherings that we're saying, let's everybody come together for this. Equipping Hour is one of those things. It seems like if you're saying, I'm a part of this, I'm a part of this spiritual family, this body, the welfare of all is my concern, and we're all kind of looking to lift one another up and carry each other and help each other follow Christ. And so not just kind of a passive sense of, that's something they're doing over there and it's not for me. Maybe it's hard to get up early enough. I understand those realities. But at the same time, a sense of this is my spiritual family. What are they teaching? What are we all hearing? What are my brothers and sisters being exposed to? What are we thinking about together? And it may be that there are things that you don't like about Equipping Hour. It's maybe that you come and there's things we say and you go, I have some concerns about that or some questions. Or it may be ways we do it. We're not perfect teachers. We're growing as teachers. There may be things that you have, things you observe about how we teach or what we teach, that we would benefit from hearing feedback from you. We welcome feedback from involved, committed people who are a part of it, who are alongside us, coming and saying, hey, brother, maybe there's some things about this course design or a particular lesson that could have been better, or even ideas about courses we might do in the future. Maybe there's some things that you haven't heard us teach much here at the church in a while, and you're thinking this would be edifying for us to hear. I love actually hearing course ideas. Some of you members have shared those with us, and they're really helpful. And it really means something coming from those who have been alongside us, walking through Equipping Hour, hearing what we're learning about, and then saying, hey, what about this? This could be helpful. Or, hey, this could be done a little better. So not just a sense of, I can learn, which is primary, coming to not have a critical spirit, but just going to be teachable. What can I learn? How can I grow? But also secondarily, a sense of I can be a part of this, even if I'm not going to be a teacher in Equipping Hour. I can help own what's happening in the ministry and help maybe give some counsel and suggestions for steering it, as well as just being aware of what our brothers and sisters are learning and thinking about. And thirdly, to be an encouraging presence for others and enhance their experience. So we all know what it's like, on the one hand, to go to a gathering that's really small, really sparsely attended, versus going to a gathering that's really lively. There's a lot of people there. There's not only just people passively sitting there, but a lot of people who are interested and invested. And if you've been to Equipping Hour, you know that we try to make it a very interactive venue. We try to make it a lot of discussion, a lot of questions, a lot of opportunity to kind of bounce ideas and sharpen ideas off each other. Of course, there's some content coming from the front, but it's a very interactive place. And because of that, it really makes a difference whether there's, say, 10 people there. And Lord, by God's grace, it's been pretty well attended. It's not like there's been, 5 or 10 people. But if you can imagine a scenario where there's only a handful of people there, it's discouraging for them week after week. They're going to maybe start thinking, why do I even come? It seems lifeless. Versus a group where there's more buy-in, there's more investment, there's more people interested in sharing these ideas and growing together. It's going to just keep drawing other people in, and they'll benefit from the instruction too. So for your edification, for your instruction, for your involvement in the body in general, and for your encouragement of others to be there, gaining what we're gaining, receiving what we're receiving, I want to exhort you to be a part of Equipping Hour. I truly believe that if you come regularly, you won't regret it, that you will see yourself growing, you'll see yourself thinking and engaging with things that we don't get to talk about much. And again, we're not perfect. We welcome feedback, we welcome suggestions, but I want to commend that to you as we launch our new school year. And I look forward to seeing you, Lord willing, at 9 o'clock on Sunday there. And of course, for corporate worship at 10:30. And until then, I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.